Good evening, guys. I thought I'd hop on here. Uh, been staying at my mother-in-law's because we have no water at the time of this video. It's a big storm that blew in Thursday. If you'll notice my thumbnail, that is my neighbor's tree. As you can see, that is a really big tree. And no, just little meager 30 to 40 mile an hour wind blew that thing down. It was a microburst, but I think, and others think, it was really a small tornado. There was down power poles all over town, trees uprooted all over town. There's some siding and some damage on my house. We're getting a guy to come out here and look at it. Hopefully we can get that fixed and taken care of. But I'd never seen anything like it in all my days, what I experienced Thursday night. We were without power up until the next day about 5 o'clock. And we still have no water because a tree branch knocked down a spigot, broke it in half. So we had to turn the water off until we can get that fixed. It was bad, but that's enough of my problems, because let's look at Hawaii. They need our prayers, guys. Pray for the people of Hawaii. As of the taping of this video, there's about 80 plus people that have died, that were killed. About 1,500, the last count I heard. But there's no telling how many of those that are missing, 1,500 that are missing, how many of those are going to be found alive. I'm praying. We should pray. But I never seen anything like Hawaii. I looked at some of the videos and some of the pictures. It's literally like a nuclear explosion just went off there. I mean, towns and cities have totally just been have been burned away. It's bad. I mean, it just makes you think. During the tribulation, the fourth bowl judgment, and the sun will scorch man with its heat. It just makes you wonder what that's going to be like. You take a look at Hawaii, that's nothing to what that the tribulation's going to experience. Is Hawaii under judgment? I can't say, but I think all of America is under judgment for what we've done. Abortion, puberty blockers that are just mutilating kids. Are we under judgment? I think all of America is under judgment. What I experienced Thursday, what Hawaii, which nothing compared to, Hawaii is, what we've experienced is nothing compared to what Hawaii has experienced. As far as I can say, no one has been killed, what we experienced. But Hawaii is just pray for the people in Hawaii. Pure devastation. I've never seen anything like it. It's bad. It's bad. Pray for the people of Hawaii. I wanted to come on here to talk about something else. Israel. If you just know that we look at America, we look at the events in the world. I'm on here with no notes again. I'm on here just on the fly because I don't know when I'm going to get water back, and I don't know when I'm going to get back on here again. I may come on here just the electricity works, so I can sit in the air conditioning. I just have no water. So I might come in here, do a video, and pop back out until we get water. But with that being said, we need to look at Israel with end times events. The first major sign with Israel was the rebirth of Israel. Israel became a state, I think it was 47 or 48, somewhere in that ballpark. It became a state overnight. That was a huge prophecy. And then you got Ezekiel 37, the Valley of Dry Bones, where the people started to come back to Israel. They started to relocate to Israel. Now remember, at first, let's take a step back. You probably all have heard Mark Twain and his Innocents Abroad when he came to Jerusalem. He said even the trees and the cacti had deserted Jerusalem. It was so barren. It was just nothing but desert, no people. That was back in the 1860s and back in that ballpark. Israel became a state. More people have started to relocate. They started to renew the land. They drained the swamps. They started to grow their gardens. They planted trees. They've invested in desalinization of the Mediterranean Sea. So there's a water surplus. So they have the water. They have gardens. They have trees. They've discovered oil. They discovered natural resources. The biggest in the world. They're discovering gold. They're doing archaeological digs. They're discovering the temple wealth, the temple resources. So all of these things in Israel has become so prosperous for what they've done. They're becoming, their resources have been renewed. The world has taken note. Russia will take note. Iran will take note for the Gog and Magog war. So Israel is the hour hand, Jerusalem is the minute hand, and the Temple Mount is the second hand. So that we are so close to the rapture of the church. We are very close to going home, and I can't be more excited. The Temple Mount, things are blowing up on the Temple Mount. Violence has erupted all over Jerusalem with the whole judicial reform. Bibi Netanyahu said he is going to sign it. So Israel looks like is fixing to erupt in the civil war. Personally, I think it's the left just causing trouble. That's what they do. The left, the George Soros crowd. Some of those, I think, are funded by the billionaire left, George Soros, Bill Gates. I think a lot of them are funded by those guys to, hey, here's some money, go in there and cause trouble. So Jerusalem is a mess. And prophecy-wise, back in 2004, after 2,000 years, the Sanhedrin back in 2004 was reformed. So what is a Sanhedrin? They are the ruling class. The ruling class when it concerns the temple. If you remember, Jesus was brought before what? The Sanhedrin. They made the laws. The Sanhedrin. Jesus was brought before Sanhedrin. Well, back in 70 AD, when the temple was destroyed, it was dismantled. Well, the Sanhedrin was reformed. is reformed. The temple is ready to go. Everything in the temple is ready to go. They have all of their the temple, the stuff that go in the temple, the menorah, the altar, the place of the showbread, the candlesticks. They have the oil. They have been purifying and crushing olive oil. They brought that olive pressing technique back for the oil for the olive oil. That all of that has been brought back. There's an artisan that knows how to make that showbread, and he is training people to make that showbread again. So the showbread, all of that is ready. The temple is ready. Everything is ready. They have the blueprints. And if you look, a lot of these blueprints are with the Dome of the Rock and that Temple Mosque. All of that is without those two things there. They have the blueprints without those things there. Now Saudi Arabia and Israel are fixing to normalize relations. Saudi Arabia really doesn't care about making deals with Palestine. They have said in the past, within the last few months, that the Temple Mount and the Dome of the Rock is not important to them. They want to. Their eyes are on Mecca. Can it be moved to the Mecca location? Could be. But Saudi Arabia has said in the past that the Temple Mount is not important to them anymore. That it's the third holiest site. It's not important to them. So it could be moved. There's also a plan B that the Temple Mount could be. There's enough room beside the Dome of the Rock for the third temple to go there. So the temple is ready. The temple is ready to go. Most people in Israel want a third temple. The third temple is coming. Let's read Daniel 9:27. And he, the Antichrist, and he will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week. 1 week in the Bible is 7 years. He will make a 7-year covenant with many, but in the middle of that week, he will put a stop. Listen to this. He will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering on the wing of abomination will come who he makes desolate. How can he put a stop to sacrificing and grain offering? Well, there's no temple there. Well, there will be. There'll be a third temple. A third temple that God will not sanction because he knows that will be the Antichrist temple. It's the temple of the Antichrist. At the 3.5 year mark, he's going to put a stop to grain and sacrificing. He's going to set himself up. He's going to put an idol there. He's going to make people worship that idol and declare himself God. And that tells me with this verse, there is a third temple coming. Things are ready. Things are There's a train. There's another thing. I'm going to bring this out. The reason why Saudi Arabia wants normalizations with Israel. The train is going through Saudi Arabia. If there's a train going through Saudi Arabia up to the temple, they're going to want a normal relationship with Israel, and they're saying they don't need a two-state solution with Palestine. The U.S. does. The U.S. is demanding that there be a two-state solution for Saudi Arabia and Israel, but Saudi Arabia says no. There doesn't need to be a two-state solution. They want a normal relationship with Israel, and with that, the temple's ready to go. The temple, it is so ready that the walls, everything, the priests are trained. They're doing dry runs. Their trained priests are doing dry runs with all the temple rituals. They're even sacrificing for the Passover, not on the Temple Mount. They ask every year if they can do it on the Temple Mount. They're said no, so they're doing it outside the city walls. They're doing dry runs, folks. The temple, all they need is to go ahead, and that thing can be built between 3 to 6 months. You know what that means? That means the rapture is soon. I do think the rapture will occur before the temple gets built. I think things are so heated between Palestine and his enemies, those terrorist groups, the Iranian terrorist groups, the Palestine terrorist groups, the Houthis, the Hezbollah, all of those, they're basically going to keep the temple from being built. The Antichrist, this is what I think. It's completely conjecture. I'm making an educated guess. But I think that with this peace deal, it's going to come, okay, you can have your temple. And they're going to build it. With this peace deal, the Antichrist is going to say, build your temple. And with the signing of the peace deal, the tribulation starts. And yeah, this video was so rough. It was so out of the blue. I hope it was okay. It was out of the blue. No notes. Decided to sit down. I was sitting here. I decided to do a video. And you don't want to be here for the tribulation. Acts 13, 38 to 39. Therefore, let it be known to you, brethren, that through him forgiveness of sins is proclaimed to you through the shedding of his blood, and through him everyone who believes is freed from all things from which you could not be freed through the law of Moses. It's through the shedding of his blood. He did things on that cross that we could never do through the law of Moses. We couldn't be freed from the law of Moses. We're under a different law. That's the shedding of his blood. 1 Corinthians 15, 3 through 4. For I have delivered to you as of first importance what I also received, that Christ died, shed his blood for our sins, according to Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he was raised, and on the third day, now let me read that back. I keep messing that up. And that he was freed on the third day according to scriptures. He shed his blood so we can wash our sins in his blood. It's his blood. We were saved by his blood. And let's not make it difficult. Romans 10:13. For whosoever call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. It's easy, folks. Believe in him. Believe that he shed his blood on the cross for you, for me, and you're saved. That's it. Come to him today. I hope this was okay. Again, this is an on-the-fly video. We're going home soon, guys. Like, share, subscribe. I've been stuck on 86 subscribers, which is a lot more than I thought. A lot more than I thought. And this video is kind of a take on my convergence video that I'm humbled that 400 people, at the time of this video, 400 people have watched. I'm real shocked on that. I'm humbled. I'm not a good teacher. I'm not a good pastor. I'm just a very, very imperfect dude that loves the Lord. And I'm on here hoping that one person will get saved. Like, share, subscribe. I'll come back on here in a few days. God bless.